Hello, today for review I've got an updated version of a really popular portable digital to analog converter made by iFi named xDSD, and they added new code name Gryphon. They released xDSD a few years ago and it was a good device, but of course progress doesn't wait for no one, and since that appeared a lot of competitors, and iFi themselves developed a lot of experience in many aspects of portable and not so portable audio, so they decided to upgrade the digital to analog converter, packing it with modern features. And actually this digital to analog converter really have a lot of things to offer. It can be used as a digital to analog converter, as a pure amplifier, as pure digital to analog converter, and it has wireless, in this case, Bluetooth capabilities supporting all modern codecs. Just looking at different side of the box, you can see how many stuff is here. But actually price is $600. I will add link to the official site in the description. Let's have a closer look. So package is simple but looks fancy. High-res audio and high-res audio wireless stickers. On the side noticed supporting DSD up to 512 and PCM to 768 kHz. Here used Burr Brown chipset, commonly selected by the iFi. USB SPDIF, MQA supported, so you can see a lot of stuff here, and additional information printed here. 3 dedicated stages, state of, okay, let's skip that marketing part. What is also important here, so QCC 5100, good modern codec, and with support for aptX HD, aptX Adaptive, LDAC, HWA, and other modern formats. Asynchronous USB and SPDIF optical, X-Base and X-Space settings, and some additional features by iFi. Up to 1 watt of power for 32 ohms load, so pretty powerful, lot of inputs and outputs, and other specifications. What else I can mention? Up to 8 hours of work from single charge. So let's dig inside of this box. In the outer sleeve you'll get cardboard box, nice short manual describing what's going on here. Device itself, warranty card, dehumidifier, and velvet storage pouch. To be honest, I don't like these pouches, I don't like the feel of this material. And you'll get a bunch of cables, and this time they look pretty audiophilic. So USB Type-C to USB Type-C, Lightning to USB Type-C, and USB Type-A to USB Type-C, slightly longer, so you can use it with laptop or with your PC. So as you can see, iFi this time decided to add all the necessary cables to use this device. And let's go inside and see Gryphon itself. In terms of design, it's really nice. It shares the same shape with previous version of xDSD, but this time they decided to go not that shiny version, and I like this darkish shade of gray more. It's pretty slim, not super slim, but pretty slim and really comfortable in hand, and it can be used as a sandwich with some digital transport. It's made mainly of metal, has unusual shape, and lower part is made of black plastic, probably most certainly here located antennas. And let's see set of inputs and outputs. So here is single-ended and balanced. it's line in and line out simultaneously. When you connect signal via USB or via Bluetooth, it will work as a line out. When there is no digital signal, it will work as a line in. And here is optical input and two separate USB Type-C. One is for charging and second is for data connection. Really good idea that helps preserve battery of your device. And three positional switch, base, presence and base plus presence. You can select which option of sound enhancer by xDSD you'd like to see. On the front panel there are two outputs, single-ended or as balanced. It's connector, actually not connector, it's optimized audio schema used by iFi to provide better sound. And 4.4mm balanced connectors, so just good modern input. Indicator with signal quality and selected input, and X-Base, X-Bus, X-Base feature activation indicator that shows this feature activated, sorry, lost in my thoughts. And input selector and Bluetooth button. And nice knob with digital encoder that you can rotate, and also you can click to turn device on and off. And on the bottom you get also IE match. It can be off, it can be slightly selected or working at full power. They labeled this as a 3.5 and 4.5mm, but it's a really good feature to have because it's definitely help fighting background noise. And new feature that previous device was lacking, it's a LED screen. So let me remove the protective film, because without it it's really nice. It has great glass mirror-like finish, and I like that 3D effect of the caption. And of course in real life screen is not flickering that much, it looks okay, it's just LED indicator. When you rotate the volume knob, you can see the current volume, you can see the battery status, you can see the currently selected input. And when you rotate it, actually there is a LED indicator also here. It should be visible this way. When you raise the volume, color changes. So from blue it goes to magenta, then goes to green, and so on. So actually it's traditional and typical for the iFi devices. And tapping this knob mutes the sound if you need it. Pressing the button activates X-Base, X-Base, or both of these options, or you can turn them off. And pressing the input selection button, you can select necessary inputs, so USB, Bluetooth, SPDIF, and line in if you want to activate it. And here it is. So as you can see, in terms of controls, in terms of firmware and all the necessary stuff, it's done really well. Also xDSD has a menu with few additional options. To get there you need to press this mode button, and here is the menu. You navigate with knob and select options by clicking it. So USB dual port charge, Bluetooth voice prompt, screen brightness, and digital filter. You can select one of three filters, so not many options, but just basic ones. Most probably iFi will release firmware updates with additional features here, because there are some complaints about one of the features they've implemented. If I remember the name right, it's named CyberSync. When you connect it to the different devices, to different transport, it reads the volume figures from that device and adjusts own volume automatically to match that volume, and sometimes when you connect it to some transport with high volume set, it can raise volume noticeably. So not everyone likes this feature, and I'm not maybe not confident, but it would be logical if they will release the firmware that will allow to disable that feature. But we'll see. I actually didn't have any problems with that, but of course usage scenarios differ for different people. And of course about the sound, just for demonstration purpose, because for testing I use different gear, but to make everything looks more fancy on my table, I will use LZ A4 Pro hybrid in-ear monitors by a company that I like. Company I like. About earphones I will talk about in one of next reviews. And FIO M17, I promised that I will use it often, and I'll do, but actually it's pretty good for demonstration purpose because it has a pretty big screen. And now I connected it wirelessly. You can see that LDAC codec used, PCM 96 kHz, so actually LDAC is working. 96 kHz is more of extrapolation figure in this case, but anyway. But of course I tested it in Bluetooth mode, in wired mode, and so on. So let's talk about the sound step by step, and mainly I will talk about the wired mode because it allows you to get the highest performance, and most probably people will use it more. In this device, in my opinion, Bluetooth is more of additional feature, because if you're going to use Bluetooth more often, it's better to get some more compact receiver and use it on the go easily. And xDSD is device for those who want to achieve maximum power, maximum performance, and in this case, of course, you'll need wired connection. But in terms of sound, actually it reminds the previous version of xDSD, not surprisingly in this case, and also it reminds iFi Go Blue Bluetooth receiver that also built with similar sound tuning. It has a hint of additional weight, but at the same time pretty technical and resolving, but at the same time not making focus on the micro contrast, so it's not sound monitoring or analytical, offering more of representation that usually called musical. And of course this description is done for the natural position of this toggle, disabled IE match, and without this enhancers. But actually a few words about them, so I won't forget to do it later. X-Bass, you can guess it's boosting low frequencies, making main focus on the deepest layers of bass, and at the same time X-Bass here is not too big, so it won't make your earphones won't push them to bass head level, but at the same time it will add more foundation at the deeper layers of bass, will make sound more massive. And that X-Bass, it's improving stage width, but at the same time depth sounds slightly artificial in this mode, at least to my ears. You know, stage is a really subjective thing, so for you it can be different, of course, but you'll definitely need to try all options to find what will be better for you. And bass, low frequencies go deep with wired connection actually to maximum depth. In the wireless connection, of course, it's limited by the lossy codecs, but depth is nice, and of course control is also really good because low frequencies here have enough of power. They have a slight hint of additional weight, as I've said before, but at the same time punch and speed is also pretty nice. Resolution is good, it's not trying to be at the maximum in terms of resolution, but still, of course, you won't miss any necessary details. It's universal. It's okay with, it's good with electronic music and also plays nicely with acoustic instruments. So no preferences in genres and styles here. It's just a matter of subjective preferences. You need to like a hint of added weight. And the first example for the low frequencies, it's Juno Reactor, Siberian, so nice, good bass line that this device plays fully with all necessary nuances and details, because usually Juno Reactor shows a really good actually not shows a really good performance. They are really creative and they invent really interesting bass lines, and this digital tonal converter plays them nicely. And second example, it's Queen. I decided that always using another one bites the dust will be too much, so I selected second famous riff from Under Pressure, and it also sounds engaging, nice, pretty embossed and fun. Mid frequencies are technical, detailed, but not focused on the micro contrast, so it's not for those who like razor sharp representation, not for those who need that boosted amount of micro details, not for those who want boosted upper mids to add additional pseudo detailization or clarity. So resolution here is pretty good, but at the same time it's not boosted. And also it has a slight hint of additional weight, making voices and instruments more weighty, adding a bit of additional body. Without X-Space option, imaginary stage is above average in width and in depth, not hugely, but noticeably above average, so really good results. Of course, in wireless mode it will be slightly less, in wired it will be slightly more. And first example for the mid frequencies, actually the band that I really like. I not often use them for demonstration purpose because they are not by any meaning audiophilic, but they are fun, they are creative. It's Powerwolf with Drink Your Blood. Actually, it was my first acquaintance with this band. I found that video on the YouTube and I was blown both by level of engagement. They have really good riffs and great vocal, and all aspects are done nicely. And also I like that level of sarcasm and that gloomy atmosphere around their tracks. And it plays really well with this digital tonal converter without any problems. So not too sharp, not too analytical, at the same time not too soft, and so nicely balanced. And second example, also from Scorpion's 1999 album, Eye to Eye. Kind of close to pop music, but at the same time pretty creative, and I like it. I like this album in general, and this track in particular, and it has interesting bass line too, but here they also have a lot of interesting 3D effects that this digital tonal converter plays nicely. And of course vocal and instrumental part is also sounds good. Treble has also similar representation, slightly slow attacks and decays, not slow, but slower than average, but not too much. Not trying to be super boosted or super analytical, but in the presence mode it will be slightly accented, giving you a hint of additional clarity. Extension is above average in wired mode, slightly above average in wireless mode, noticeably above average in wired, so it's also a matter of codec used, and at the same time not too energetic, not too sharp, not too analytical, but at the same time not over softened, so it's present. Of course I'd like to hear more layering, but still it has basic layering and it's nice in overtone saturation, so giving pleasant nuances and details for the record. And first example, actually pretty complicated track. It's Snarky Puppy and Lalah. Actually, I'm not sure about the pronunciations as usual, so it's my thing, not being sure about the pronunciation of names. Track named something, really interesting vocal and recorded pretty well, so with a lot of overtones that goes to the treble area, and this digital tonal converter plays them really good, even actually in the LDC mode, despite the lossy codec, still nice. And another good example, it's Amaseffer, Midian. I like this album, and I still have a hope that they will release at least one more, but with each year, actually it was released in 2008 if I remember right, and since that time I'm waiting, but it's not here yet. Of course, with each year this hope fades, but still maybe one day. Anyway, Midian, interesting track. It has a lot of audio effects, lot of orchestra, violins and many other things, and all that goes to the treble area too, and this digital tonal converter plays it pretty well. Not perfectly, because it requires wired connection and slightly, actually to play this track at full potential you'll probably need some player from the $1,000+ segment, but still on a really good level. And in terms of driving power, it's absolutely universal device. I've read some complaints with super sensitive in-ear monitors, but to my ears background noise is really low if you use, of course, the proper position for this switch. And it can drive pretty power-hungry cans too. Of course, not super tough to drive, but still pretty powerful, especially from the balanced output, of course. And speaking about the conversions, it's actually, I didn't have any digital tonal converters from this segment. I have a FiiO Q5, but this one is slightly more advanced in terms of overall performance. It reminds Go Blue, but does everything on a much better level. And actually comparing with players of this segment, actually it can be compared with players of slightly higher segment. FiiO's M11 Plus, Shanling M6 2021 and Hybe R6 2020, they have more or less the same level. I don't like this word, but in terms of overall performance they are pretty comparable, but this one slightly different in terms of representation, because Hybe is more natural and monitoring and sounds drier, and Shanling is more accenting emotions and dynamics, and FiiO is balanced between those two, and this one is with more added weight for those who like such representation. So slightly different representation, but overall the same level, but for less price and with a bunch of additional features. And probably this review is too long already, so it's time to summarize. Really good portable or semi-portable digital tonal converter for those who need a lot of great features and of course really well-tuned sound. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and of course have a nice day.